The night before my grand wedding, the bamboo spirit I'd raised since childhood transformed into my exact likeness, and with one finger, she pierced straight through my chest. She gouged out my eyes, strung them into a necklace, then took my place and married my childhood sweetheart fiancé, not my parents, not my elder brother. None of them saw through her disguise, only him. When she hung her head in feigned shyness, the softness in his eyes would vanish without a trace, leaving a coldness far more terrifying than his usual fierce scowl. On the wedding night, candlelight flickered crimson. Chi-Minute stepped into the room draped in the shadows of night, his figure tall and elegant, bearing the grace of a nobleman. The bride's veil was lifted. The woman beneath was stunningly beautiful, her lips curved in a smile identical to mine in every way. Chi-Minute froze for a heartbeat, his gaze seeming to lock onto her in a daze. I remembered the words Nantianju had spoken the night before. She'd said she'd been able to take human form long ago, but had hidden it for years, waiting for this very day. She envied my status. She envied the love I'd received from my family since childhood, but most of all, she envied that I had such a perfect fiancé. She'd fallen deeply in love with him at first sight. Fortunately, she'd said, Chi-Minute doesn't love you, otherwise, I would have ground you to dust, leaving nothing behind. She'd wanted me to watch closely, to watch how Chi-Minute would fall in love with her, step by step. But how could that be possible? Chi-Min's reputation for ferocity was known to everyone in the capital. He once dragged a man through the streets on horseback, leaving a trail of blood in his wake, all because that man had dared to speak disrespectfully to him. Yet even with me, this man was always cold-faced, never showing a hint of affection. When people congratulated him on marrying the legitimate daughter of a powerful family, he'd only replied indifferently, "It's merely a match arranged by our parents and matchmakers." Tedious. So I'd known long ago that Chi-Minute didn't love me. In fact, he loathed me, too. After drinking the nuptial wine together, Chi-Minute spoke gently, "Sorry to keep you waiting. Are you tired?" Without waiting for a reply, he began to help Nantianju remove her heavy ceremonial crown. "Let's take this off first, or your neck will ache." His voice was soft, his eyes crinkling with a smile. This side of Chi-Minute was one I'd never seen before. Nantianju was overjoyed, letting him move freely as her gaze locked firmly onto the man before her. "You used to be so afraid of me, didn't you?" Chi-Minute glanced at her, asking casually. "That was all when we were children," Nantianju replied in a tender voice. "Now you're my husband, how could I ever be afraid of my own husband?" Chi-Minute said nothing more, but his eyes remained fixed on her. For a split second, his gaze flicked toward me. My heart skipped a beat, but I quickly remembered I was now nothing but a wisp of a soul. He couldn't see me at all. "That necklace around your neck, it looks familiar." Nantianju touched it gently, her face glowing with happiness. "You gave this to me on my coming-of-age ceremony, but the night before the wedding, a servant accidentally broke it, and one bead went missing. This one was a last-minute replacement. You won't blame me, will you?" Chi-Minute narrowed his eyes, but didn't seem to mind. They chatted for a while longer, mostly Nantianju talking and Chi-Minute listening. He responded occasionally, but as the wine took effect, his interest seemed to wane. When the moon hung high in the sky, Nantianju suddenly blew out the candles. In the darkness, the rustle of fabric filled the air as she threw her arms around Chi-Minute. I heard her speak in my voice, soft and low, "Husband, I'm so cold. Will you warm me up?" With her soft embrace and the warm glow of the extinguished candle's embers, what was to come was obvious. Yet Chi-Minute rejected her. "I've drunk far too much tonight, completely intoxicated. To consummate our marriage now would be unfair to you, my lady. Let's rest early instead." Though it was a refusal, his voice was gentle beyond measure, as if he feared hurting her feelings. Somehow, my heart felt tight, whether it was grief over my own death, or confusion at Chi-Min's behavior. I couldn't tell. As soon as Chi-Minute left, Nan Tianju's expression changed completely. She smiled a naive, triumphant smile, caressing my round eyeball. You always said Chi Minute was fierce, a god of death, but he's been so gentle with me. It seems he's already fallen for me. You were always such a cowardly little thing. How could he ever have liked you? Being human is wonderful. From now on, my parents, my brother, and my husband's love, all of it will be mine. I watched her bright smile, a sharp ache piercing my heart. She was a spirit no one could see through her disguise. She would live on in my place, and I would vanish without a trace. But I refused to accept this fate. She wasn't me, after all. Surely one of my parents, or my brother, would see through her eventually. 3. The next morning, Nan Tianju rose early, dressed herself meticulously, and went to the study. Chi Minute was already fully dressed. When he saw her enter, the smile on his lips deepened. After drinking the hangover soup, they walked hand in hand to pay their respects to Chi Min's parents. I remembered that his parents had always treated me with great kindness, especially his mother. Every time she saw me, her face would light up with a smile she couldn't contain. After we became family, they'd been overjoyed, repeatedly telling Chi Minute not to mistreat me, doting on me as if I were their own daughter. Nan Tianju mimicked my mannerisms perfectly, nodding softly and answering their words, while her eyes stole glances at Chi Minute. I knew she loved him, but after just one night, her infatuation seemed to have grown even stronger, so obvious, so undisguised. Mother is right, Chi Minute said, taking Nan Tianju's hand. His thumb brushed gently over the pad of her middle finger, an almost imperceptible gesture. Even though it was a tiny movement, hope flared in my heart like a flame. I wanted to scream at Chi Minute. Chi Minute, you've noticed, haven't you? There's a scar there. You accidentally cut me when we were 6 years old. You know she's not me, don't you? I was trembling with excitement, yet Chi Min's expression didn't change. His dark eyes remained calm as still water. Husband, do you remember how this scar came to be? Nan Tianju spread her right hand openly, palm up, revealing the small crescent-shaped scar on the pad of her middle finger. I felt as if a bolt of lightning had struck me. Of course I remember, Chi Minute said. His brows softening, as if he were no longer as guarded as before, he tightened his grip on Nan Tianju's hand, his voice sincere. From now on, I swear I'll never let you suffer another injury again. My lady. Nan Tianju hung her head, blushing as she smiled, but as a spirit watching from the sidelines. I saw clearly, the moment she looked away, the warmth in Chi Min's eyes turned ice-cold in an instant, far more terrifying than his usual fierce glare. For, that night, Chi Minute still didn't come to Nan Tianju's room. He only sent a servant with a message. He said friends had visited, inviting him to drink at a tavern, and he couldn't refuse. If he returned too late, reeking of alcohol, it wouldn't be proper to enter her chambers. He told her to sleep without waiting for him. Nan Tianju twisted the handkerchief in her hands, gave the servant 2 quick instructions, then let him leave. Somehow, seeing that Chi Minute hadn't come to her bed that night, the tight knot in my chest loosened a little, perhaps feeling guilty for neglecting his new bride. Chi Minute visited Nan Tianju's courtyard the next day. The new chef in the mansion is excellent at making pastries. You've always loved these, so I had him make some special ones for you. He gestured to the plate in front of her. Try them. I followed his voice and my heart clenched. They were Poria Coco's pastries. My favorite. Chi Minute was such an arrogant, noble man. When had he ever gone out of his way to please anyone like this? I was so caught up in my own sorrow that I didn't notice the trick hidden in the pastries. Not until Nan Tianju suddenly collapsed to the ground, and Chi Minute discreetly swept the plate away while no one was looking, summoning a doctor in a hurry. That was when I finally realized what he'd done to her. The pastries were laced with peanuts. Inside the room, Chi Minute sat by Nan Tianju's bedside, carefully feeding her medicine. Tears glistened in Nan Tianju's eyes as she looked at him pitifully. Husband, do you not like me? Chi Min's eyes darkened for a moment, but quickly returned to normal. He looked genuinely surprised. Why would you say that? Xinga, has someone been spreading rumors about me behind your back? Nantianju shook her head, her voice trembling. If you truly loved me, how could you have forgotten that I've never been able to eat peanuts? Even a tiny bite would cover my whole body in itchy rashes, burning like fire. She shed 2 more tears, looking utterly miserable. Chi Min's face softened with genuine concern as he hurried to comfort her. It's all my fault. I forgot to tell the chef. I'm so sorry you had to suffer. Outside the room, however, Chi Min's worried expression vanished without a trace. He asked the doctor coldly, confirming the diagnosis again and again. Are you absolutely certain my wife collapsed from a peanut allergy? I'm certain, sir. Thank you for your trouble. Watching Chi Minute see the doctor off with a dejected look on his face. My heart was in my throat. Chi Minute. Why was he testing Nantianju again and again? Could it be that he'd already discovered the truth? My spiritual consciousness was forcibly pulled back into the bead before I could drift too far from Nantianju. By then, she'd already recovered and climbed out of bed, sitting in front of the mirror combing her hair, as if all the pain she'd shown earlier had been nothing but an act. But of course it was an act. I'd saved her from freezing to death in the snow when I was 6 years old, planting her in our courtyard. She'd said she'd gained sentience back then, and now I realized she'd been silently memorizing all my likes and habits ever since, which meant she'd planned this from the very beginning, planned to steal my life and take everything that was mine. That night, Nantianju sent a servant to fetch Chi Minute back to her chambers. Once again, Chi Minute refused. My lady is still recovering. Consummating our marriage now would only hinder your health. There's no rush. We have a lifetime ahead of us. Though Nantianju felt a twinge of disappointment, joy still prevailed in her heart. Husband is so thoughtful, truly. He loves me more than anything. I stared at her coldly, my only hope resting on the visit back to my parents' home tomorrow. Surely my parents and brother would see through this impostor and avenge me. #5. On the 3rd day of marriage, the day for the newlyweds to return to the bride's maiden home, Nantianju was brimming with excitement. She rose with the dawn to dress and preen, chattering away to flaunt her joy to me. Soon I'll see father, mother, and brother. I'm so happy. I wonder if they've missed me. They must have after all. I'm their only daughter, the only one. The carriage was already waiting. Chi Minute took Nantianju's hand and helped her climb inside. Happy? He asked casually. Of course. It's the first time I've been away from them this long. I've felt quite out of sorts. She prattled on about trivial, sweet memories of my childhood with the family, little snippets of days gone by. Some of them, even I could barely recall. In those days, I'd been frail and rarely ventured out. I'd hated attending those tedious tea parties hosted by other officials' wives, so I'd never made many friends. In my idle hours, I'd had no one to talk to but Nantianju, the bamboo growing in the courtyard. I'd told her everything, from mother's famous sweet osmanthus and lotus cakes, to the little wildflowers brother would pluck for me on his outings. Every tiny detail, every silly anecdote, poured out of me without reserve. How could I have known I was only paving her way to steal my life? Chi Minute listened silently, smiling every now and then, but never uttering a word. That same bored, detached look on his face again. Had he always been this pensive, this guarded? I didn't know. For all the years we'd been childhood sweethearts, it seemed I'd never really known him at all. The carriage rumbled to a halt at the gates of the Marquis's mansion. The curtain was drawn back, and a young, handsome face greeted us. He was beaming, his eyes crinkling with pure delight. My breath caught in my throat. That was brother. Nantianju darted out of the carriage like a fledgling bird returning to its nest, throwing herself into my brother's arms. Instead of being annoyed by the sudden tackle, the man wrapped his arms around the girl, holding her steady to keep her from stumbling. You little rascal, already married, yet still so unruly. Where's the grace of a proper young lady? Brother's words were sharp, but his eyes sparkled with laughter, no hint of reproach in his tone. Shinga missed brother so much. What about the hairpin you promised me? You didn't forget, did you? How could I dare? It's been ready for days, I'll get it for you later. I hovered mid-air, frozen in place, staring at the scene before me. My eyes stung, a dull ache spreading behind my lids. Brother was still as gentle as ever, but that wasn't me in his arms. A fit of familiar coughing pulled me from my daze. I turned, and there stood father. Father, I drifted toward him, calling out desperately, but father walked straight through my translucent form, his gaze fixed on Nantianju as he pretended to scold her. Eyes only for your brother, is it? That's not true, I missed father too, don't be cross with Shinga. Please, her voice was sweet and coquettish as she clung to father's arm, shaking it back and forth. It was the kind of act that made people want to dote on her even more. Father laughed, a loud, hearty sound, but it felt like shards of glass piercing my heart. I wanted to tear her hand away from father's arm, to scream at this imposter to stay away from my family. Father, I'm here. Father, she's not Nanxing, I'm the real Nanxing. Father, look at me, I'm right here. But father didn't spare me a glance. His eyes shifted to Chi Minute, who'd been standing quietly by the side. Thank you for taking care of Shinga, he said. Chi Minute nodded respectfully. Father-in-law is too polite. Shinga is my wife, I will protect her. Always. Father's face softened with approval. He clapped Chi Minute on the shoulder and led him into the mansion. As soon as we stepped into the courtyard, Mother's figure appeared under the eaves. She was still the gentle, elegant lady I'd always known, her eyes brimming with eagerness and longing as she looked our way. One look at her, and my heart shattered into a million pieces. My poor mother, she'd grown thinner, paler, more haggard than before. She must have been worrying herself sick these past few days, worrying that my in-laws wouldn't like me, that I'd be unhappy in my new home, that I'd be eating poorly and sleeping restlessly, all alone without my family to care for me. I couldn't help myself. I lunged toward her, only to watch her smile and pull Nantianju into a tight embrace, her eyes overflowing with maternal love. Mother, Shinga missed you so much. My precious Shinga, Mother missed you too. Let me look at you properly. Mother cupped Nantianju's face in her hands, and tears spilled from her eyes. How have you been at the Duke's mansion? No trouble, I hope. You must learn from your mother-in-law how to manage the household. Chi Minute is busy with his duties, don't pester him too much. Yes, I know, I haven't been pestering him, really, ask him if you don't believe me. She tugged at the sleeve of Chi Min's robe, smiling up at him with that fake innocence. Chi Minute nodded faintly, bowing respectfully to Mother. Shinga is obedient and sensible. My parents adore her. That's a relief. That's such a relief. The whole family gathered in the main hall, chatting and laughing, the atmosphere warm and lively. I stood off to the side, watching silently, as if a bucket of ice-cold water had been poured over my head, chilling me to the bone. No one, not a single soul could see that she was an imposter. After the meal, Brother fetched a carefully carved wooden hairpin and held it out to Nantianju. Here you go, your little rabbit. A rabbit-shaped hairpin. I was born in the year of the rabbit, and as a child, I'd been fair and delicate, so Brother had always teased me, calling me his little rabbit. I'd begged and pleaded with him for ages to carve this hairpin for me, cooing Brother is the best, and I love Brother most, over and over until he'd finally caved. Now it was pinned in Nantianju's hair. I stared greedily at the sight of them all laughing together, my eyes burning until tears finally spilled over, streaming down my face. Father, Mother, Brother, please just look at me. Nantianju chatted merrily with Father and Mother, bickering playfully with Brother. But every now and then, she'd shoot me a triumphant, taunting glance, as if to say, stop crying, they can't see you. Was it my imagination, or did Chi Minute follow her gaze, looking straight in my direction? For a split second, it felt like our eyes met. #6. After the feast, Chi Minute volunteered to visit my old courtyard. For a newly married couple, it was a perfectly polite request, with mother's permission. Nantianzhu led Chi Minute eagerly through the carved corridors to the courtyard where I'd grown up. It was spotlessly clean. Mother had ordered servants to tend to it every day, sweeping the grounds and tending the flowers. Even with its mistress gone, even without me, the courtyard still felt warm and welcoming. Every piece of furniture polished to a shine. I remember there was a Nandina bamboo plant growing in this courtyard. Chi Minute said, glancing around. Why is it gone now? My soul jolted. I snapped out of my grief instantly, my gaze locking onto Nantianzhu, heart pounding. But her expression didn't flicker. She smiled sweetly. It's strange, isn't it? It had been thriving for years, but for some reason, it suddenly withered and died the night before my wedding. No one could figure out what was wrong with it. Withered and died. Chi Minute sounded faintly puzzled. Yes, I thought. Well, it was just a plant, wasn't it? Dead is dead, no use crying over it. Before Chi Minute could ask anything else, she grabbed his hand and dragged him into the house. I didn't know Chi Minute well, but I'd always known this. For all his fearsome reputation, he was razor-sharp, incredibly intelligent. He wouldn't have asked about that Nandina bamboo for no reason. Perhaps he really had guessed the truth. But how, if even my own family, my parents and brother, who'd loved me my entire life, couldn't see through her disguise? How could Chi Minute possibly have figured it out? The room was immaculate, dusted and tidied by the servants until not a speck of dirt remained. As soon as we stepped inside, a familiar sandalwood scent wrapped around us, the scent of my childhood. But the girl who'd once called this room home was gone forever. Nantianzhu was about to snuggle up to Chi Minute, eager for a moment of intimacy, when Mother's voice called her away suddenly. I didn't follow, and neither did Chi Minute. As soon as Nantianzhu was out of sight, Chi Minute leaped up to the ceiling beam, then dropped back down to the floor just as quickly. He opened his palm. Resting in his hand was a single glazed bead, exactly like the one missing from Nantianzhu's necklace. It was the very bead she'd pried off the necklace to make room for my eye. She'd lied and said she'd lost it, but it turned out she'd hidden it in the crack of the beam all along. I stared at Chi Minute, my breath catching. His expression was still calm, still unreadable, but his hand, the one clutching the bead, was trembling slightly. #7. Chi Minute had found it. The thought sent my entire soul trembling, waves of hope crashing over me. How had he figured it out? Nantianzhu was a spirit, her human form was flawless, a perfect replica of me. Not even my own family had seen through it. How could he have? If Chi Minute knew she was an imposter, would he avenge me? Would he bring this fraud to justice? I stared at him, my heart in my throat, silently begging him not to act rashly, but I was worrying for nothing. Chi Minute quickly composed himself, as if the slight tremble in his hand had been nothing more than my imagination. He ran his thumb over the bead gently, then carefully tucked it back into the crack where he'd found it, restoring it to its hiding place. Of course, it was just a bead. A single bead meant nothing. Even if he suspected she wasn't me. Given how he'd treated me all these years, cold, distant, indifferent, there was no chance he'd ever speak up for me. No chance he'd risk his neck to clear my name. I'd watched them closely these past few days. The way Chi Minute treated Nantianzhu was so different from how he'd treated me. The thought sent a fresh wave of bitterness washing over my soul. Days passed, and I didn't catch so much as a glimpse of Chi Minute. Nantianzhu grew restless. She was desperate to consummate the marriage. And with Chi Minute nowhere to be found, she marched off to complain to his mother. Sure enough, that night, Chi Minute finally appeared at her courtyard. He looked thinner than before, his features sharper with fatigue, but he was dressed in an unexpectedly plain, unadorned robe. Even so, he cut an elegant, striking figure like a prince carved from jade. How could anyone not be charmed by him? Even I, in my current state, found myself staring. It was no wonder Nantianzhu was so obsessed. She drank in the sight of him, her pretty face flushing bright red with shyness and desire. As soon as he stepped into the room, she hurried over to him, clinging to his arm as if afraid he'd vanish into thin air. Her declaration of love was bold, passionate, unrestrained. "Husband, I missed you so much." She reached out to wrap her arms around him, but Chi-Minute stepped back, stopping her. He raised his sleeve to cover his mouth and coughed a few times. "Xinga, stay a little further away," he said. His voice hoarse. "I've caught a cold, I wouldn't want to pass it to you." Nan Tianju's face fell, but not out of concern for his illness. "I never get sick, I'm not afraid of a silly cold." She pouted. At her words, a faint flicker crossed Chi-Min's brow, but he didn't pull away from her as he had before. Seeing his softened stance, Nan Tianju pressed her advantage, her voice turning sweet and pleading. "Husband, stay with me tonight, please." She leaned in, pressing her cheek against his chest. When he didn't push her away, she snuggled closer, her body molding to his. After a long, tense silence, Chi-Min's voice dropped to a low murmur. "All right." I looked at him, my heart sinking. His eyes were cold, ice cold, void of any warmth, any tenderness. Not a trace of the gentle smile he'd worn for her just days ago remained. #8. Chi-Minute stayed the night, and Nan Tianju was over the moon. She ordered the servants to prepare a lavish dinner. Chattering away to Chi-Minute about trivialities of the past few days with boundless enthusiasm, "Mother told me you only look cold on the outside, but your heart is warm, you do care about me. She said I should take the initiative, so we can bless the Duke's mansion with children soon." She picked up food for him, her voice dripping with coquetry. "Xinga wants to give you lots of babies too, husband." Chi-Minute narrowed his eyes, his gaze fixed on Nan Tianju. After a long pause, he replied, "Very well, if you want children, I'll give them to you." The words made Nan Tianju nearly jump for joy, but they turned my blood to ice. This, I supposed, was what love looked like. Day after day, I watched him dote on her, shower her with affection he'd never once shown me. To see him so smitten, it was a pain I could barely bear. A surge of jealousy welled up in me unbidden. Part of me wanted him to be happy, another part dreaded the thought of him finding happiness with her. Lost in my own sorrow, I didn't notice the way Chi-Min's fingers brushed the edge of the bowl, slipping a pinch of something into the plum juice without a trace. He watched Nan Tianju drink the juice, then calmly averted his gaze, as if nothing had happened. The dinner dragged on until the moon hung high in the sky. A faint, delicate fragrance wafted through the air like sandalwood incense in a temple, serene and infused with a hint of transcendence. In my ears, it was as if a Buddhist bell was tolling, slow and resonant, echoing into the distance. As a wandering spirit, I should have feared anything related to the Buddha, but for some reason, I felt a warm, comforting sensation spreading through my ethereal form, lulling me into a sense of peace. Ever since drinking the plum juice, Nan Tianju's cheeks had been flushed, her eyes glazed with desire. Now, surrounded by the intoxicating scent, her expression grew even more dazed. She stared at Chi-Minute, her voice soft and breathless. "Husband, you smell so good." Chi-Minute looked down at her, his expression impassive. "Do I? Then you like it?" Nan Tianju's eyes seemed to lose focus entirely. "I do." The candle had burned out at some point, leaving the room in darkness. I couldn't see Chi-Min's face, but his voice was colder than the night air itself. "I'm glad you like it. This scent was made especially for you." "Really?" Nan Tianju nuzzled his arm, her mind clouded with the fragrance. "It's divine, husband. Let's consummate our marriage." Under the influence of the scent, my consciousness began to fade too. The last thing I saw before blacking out was Chi-Minute pushing Nan Tianju down onto the bed, his voice low as he whispered, "As you wish." #9. When I regained consciousness, it was already the next day. I opened my eyes to find Nan Tianju sitting at her vanity, preening, her face glowing with satisfaction. The memories of last night came flooding back. and it felt as if a sharp thorn had been driven into my heart, making it hard to breathe. So, the cold glints I'd seen in Chi Min's eyes had indeed been my imagination. He really did love her. Noticing my dejection, Nan Tianju preened triumphantly, gloating at me. Nanxing, did you see how passionately husband made love to me last night? I managed a bitter smile. That mysterious fragrance had knocked me out cold instantly. I hadn't seen a thing in that moment. I was almost grateful for the blackout. To watch Chi Minute in the arms of another woman, I don't think I could have survived the pain. Nan Tianju wasn't really asking me, of course, she went on, her voice dripping with smugness. He doted on me for hours. I begged and begged before he finally let me rest. Her eyes sparkled as she smiled, radiant as spring blossoms. Who knew physical love could be so wonderful? Too bad you'll never get to experience it now. With that, she buried her nose in the scent-laden bed curtains, completely forgetting about her carefully styled hair. She collapsed back onto the bed, overcome with drowsiness, and fell asleep almost immediately. For several nights in a row, Chi Minute stayed in Nan Tianju's chambers every night. The Lanshan courtyard was filled with that faint, intoxicating fragrance, and every night, I slipped into a deep slumber, waking only the next morning. Nan Tianju grew increasingly lethargic, sleeping late into the day and dozing off again shortly after waking. Chi Min's mother grew worried, fearing something was wrong with her health, and sent for the best physician in the entire capital. His diagnosis brought the household great joy. #10, Nan Tianju was pregnant. After confirming the news repeatedly, Chi Min's mother beamed as she saw the physician off, pressing an extra ingot of silver into his hands as a reward. My parents couldn't visit in person, but they sent cartloads of lavish gifts to the Duke's mansion. The pregnancy was a cause for celebration for both families. Even Chi Minute, who'd been busy for days on end, made a rare trip back to the mansion. His reaction was surprisingly calm, as if he'd been expecting this all along, though he didn't show any outward signs of joy. He sent over plenty of nourishing foods suitable for a pregnant woman. Having only just taken human form, Nan Tianju had always been obsessed with mortal delicacies. She'd exercised some restraint at first, but recently, she'd let herself go completely. Perhaps it was the pregnancy, or perhaps she thought she'd completely captured Chi Min's heart. Either way, she'd stopped controlling her appetite altogether, and Chi Minute indulged her every whim. Whenever she mentioned wanting something to eat, he'd make sure it was brought to her, letting her feast to her heart's content. Chi Minute had smiled at her once, saying, "Eat as much as you like. Carrying our child is already hard enough. I could never bear to deny you anything. No matter how rare it is, I'll find it for you, always." Upon hearing this, Nan Tianju blushed even more deeply, her smile shy and sweet. "You're so good to me, husband." As she spoke, she shot a glance in my direction, her eyes brimming with triumph. I'd been in a daze for days, and her veiled taunts barely registered anymore. In a daze, I lifted my eyes and suddenly found myself locking gazes with Chi Minute. I must have been hallucinating, I thought, because in his deep, dark eyes, I saw a flicker of profound sorrow and longing, barely contained beneath the surface. Chi Minute grew busy again, staying away from the mansion for days on end, unable to find her son. Chi Min's mother, overcome with guilt, ordered servants to send all manner of tonics, silks, and jewelry to Nan Tianju's courtyard, never letting her want for anything. Nan Tianju didn't seem to mind her husband's absence. She spent her days eating and sleeping, her life monotonous yet carefree. But remembering what my mother had told me, how difficult and painful her pregnancy with my brother had been, a vague sense of unease stirred in me. A thought flitted across my mind, but I couldn't quite grasp it. Unsurprisingly, Nan Tianju began to gain weight rapidly. It was the first time since taking human form that she'd felt genuine frustration. She touched her rounded cheeks, then turned to Chi Minute, seeking comfort, her voice tinged with grievance. For the first time, however, Chi-Minute didn't console her. The man stood there, his features as handsome and elegant as ever, looking like a painting come to life. But though his face was beautiful, his aura was inexplicably cold, icy. He looked her up and down, his brows furrowing, and said nothing. The longer he stayed silent, the more flustered Nantianju became. She reached out, wrapping her arms around his, and acted coquettishly as she always did. "Why aren't you speaking, husband? Have I grown ugly? Do you dislike me now?" In the end, Chi-Minute let out a long, heavy sigh. "How could I ever dislike you, Shinga? Don't overthink it. Just rest and take care of our child." That night, Chi-Minute didn't stay. It was understandable, I supposed. The fetus was still young. And the physician had repeatedly warned against intimacy, fearing it might cause a miscarriage. But Nantianju couldn't accept it. After Chi-Minute left, she sank into a state of anxiety. She'd always worn her heart on her sleeve, so her inner turmoil was plain to see. I only sighed at her insatiable greed. How could a man as devoted as Chi-Minute ever grow to dislike her because of a little weight gain? # 11 days passed in the blink of an eye. Nantianju began to feel the baby's movements more and more distinctly, and her body grew increasingly uncomfortable. The imperial physicians couldn't diagnose any specific illness, only saying her body was cold and needed warming, suggesting hot spring baths to help nurture the fetus. Chi-Minute didn't hesitate. The next day, he set off for Wuhua Mountain with Nantianju in tow. The carriage came to a stop in front of a quiet, secluded courtyard. Nantianju tugged excitedly at Chi-Min's arm, hurrying to go inside, but Chi-Minute paused, glancing back at a fork in the road. Following his gaze, I saw through the dense bamboo grove the faint outline of a carriage parked there. It was my father's carriage. A vague sense of unease washed over me. There was something unusual about this trip to the hot springs. Chi-Minute, what exactly are you planning? The hot spring pool in the villa was large, divided into two sections by a white jade screen. Billowing steam rose from the water, carrying with it that familiar, intoxicating fragrance, making my eyelids heavy with drowsiness. Nantianju's cheeks were already flushed bright red. She'd climbed into the hot spring, her eyes fixed on Chi-Minute with an infatuated gaze. Chi-Minute had changed into a thin bathrobe, his well-built, upright figure veiled in mist, making him even more irresistible. He stepped into the water, sitting a good distance away from Nantianju. He frowned, staring at the necklace around her neck for a long time. It wasn't until Nantianju called his name that he finally looked up, but his gaze didn't fall on her. Instead, it drifted to the white jade screen not far away. "I once heard a legend," he said suddenly. "I thought you might find it interesting." Nantianju had somehow already snuck over to his side. Her eyes glazed. "What legend?" "Once upon a time, there was a female warrior who chanced upon an injured spirit snake. Lonely from years of wandering, she took the snake in, treating it as a friend." At his words, my heart skipped a beat. I stared at Chi-Minute, my breath catching in my throat, but Chi-Min's eyes were cast downward, a look of profound pain etched onto his face. But a spirit snake is a monster after all. Having been exposed to so much human warmth, it began to nurture a dangerous obsession. It envied the warrior's freedom, her courage to ride the winds and roam the rivers and lakes, living a life of unfettered joy. As time passed, that envy turned to greed, and so, it decided to take the warrior's place. It used all its demonic power to cast a vicious, forbidden spell. One day, when the warrior let her guard down, the snake transformed into her exact likeness. In the warrior's horrified gaze, it pierced straight through her chest with a single finger. It disposed of the warrior's body, plucked a thread from her sword tassel, and sealed one of her soul fragments within it. Then it buried the thread, along with the warrior's remains, in a secret place. After that, it pulled out the warrior's tendons, weaving them into ordinary threads to make a new sword tassel, which it carried with it always. This way, The warrior's soul was incomplete, unable to gather enough resentment to become a vengeful ghost. And unable to enter the underworld to reincarnate, after 49 days, her soul would dissipate completely, and then, the spirit snake could live forever as the female warrior until it found another body it coveted more. Chi-Minute lifted his eyes, his gaze locking onto Nantianju's. He asked, "What do you think of this spirit snake?" Before Nantianju could answer, Chi-Minute pressed on, his voice cold and sharp. "Do you think it deserves to die?" # 12. Nantianju seemed oblivious to the shift in his tone. She tilted her head, feigning innocence. "Isn't this disaster all the female warrior's fault for being so poor at judging character? If she hadn't been so naive, how could the spirit snake have taken advantage of her? At the end of the day, she was just stupid. What does that have to do with the snake? The snake only wanted a taste of what it was like to be human. If I'd had a physical form, I would have lunged at her and torn her mouth apart." She felt not an ounce of remorse for her atrocities. Instead, she shifted all the blame onto the innocent victim. Chi-Minute fell silent for a long time. Then, suddenly, he laughed, a cold, bitter sound. It's my fault. I shouldn't have wasted my breath arguing with a monster." With that, he reached out and clamped a hand around Nantianju's neck. His grip tightened slowly. Nantianju's gasps grew weaker, her voice a faint gurgle. "Who? Husband?" But in the blink of an eye, Chi-Min's hand was empty. Nantianju reappeared a short distance away, her earlier fragility gone, replaced by a vicious glare fixed on Chi-Minute. After a moment, a wide smile spread across her face, a bright, triumphant smile, purely Nantianju's own. The exact same smile she'd worn when she'd pierced my chest, innocent yet cruel. She parted her lips, her voice dripping with mockery. "Oops, I've been found out." Chi-Min's face was dark as thunder. "You killed Xing'e," a statement, not a question. "That's right," Nantianju giggled, clapping her hands like a child. "The night before our wedding, just like that." A heart-wrenching sob suddenly echoed from behind the jade screen. That voice, it was Mother's. I whipped around, my spirit trembling violently. But Nantianju paid no heed. She only grew more excited, her words slicing through the air like knives. "TSK, Nanxing was so fragile. I just poked her chest once, and she died. He, she deserved it, for being so happy, spoiled by her parents, doted on by her brother, and loved by a man who cherished her more than anything." Nantianju's laughter rang out, every word a dagger to my heart. Footsteps sounded behind the screen, then came brother's voice, thick with suppressed rage. "Father, let me go. I'll skin this damned monster alive." "Xing'e, my poor Xing'e, Xing'e." Mother's cries turned to wails, and she fainted on the spot. I drifted over in a panic, watching as father's eyes turned red, his hands clutching mother's tightly. Brother's lips trembled as he lifted mother into his arms, shooting one last, unwilling glare toward the screen before turning and stumbling away. There was nothing I could do but watch my family leave, helpless and broken. Seeing this, Nantianju laughed even harder. Then she turned to Chi-Minute, whose expression hadn't changed one bit, a flicker of regret crossing her face. "Sigh, I really did like you, husband. But you had to say all these things to hurt me. You've been such a bad boy." With that, she raised her hand and lunged at Chi-Minute, her claws extended. In the split second before she could strike, the sound of Buddhist chants erupted all around us, clear, resonant, and unbroken, like divine music descending from heaven, purifying the soul. Nantianju froze, her body convulsing as if bound by an invisible force, rendering her immobile. She clutched her belly, writhing in agony. Her face contorted in pain. Strangely, I felt no effects from the chants, not the slightest discomfort. Nantianju could bear it no longer. She looked at Chi-Minute, her eyes pleading, forcing the words out through gritted teeth. "Husband, a day of marriage means 100 days of grace. I truly loved you. I never did anything to hurt you. Please spare me. If not for me, Then for the child in my womb, your child, your child. Chi Minute scoffed, the sound cold and cruel. I wanted you dead more than anything in the world. Do you really think I'd let you carry my child? At his words, Nan Tianju's eyes turned blood-red with rage, but she was powerless to act. She could only watch, helpless, as Chi Minute raised a peachwood dagger carved with Buddhist scriptures and drove it straight through her heart. Then he tore the necklace from her neck, plucked the central bead, the one made from my eye, and held it gently in his palm. Staring at it as if it were the most precious treasure in the world, after a long, quiet moment, I heard his voice hoarse and broken. Xinga, come, I'm taking you home. # 12. When I regained consciousness again, I was in Wuhua Temple. I seemed to be trapped inside the bead, no longer able to wander freely as a spirit. Chi Minute held me carefully in his palm, his touch warm and steady, calming my trembling soul. Nan Tianju lay nearby, the peachwood dagger still protruding from her chest. Her body had shriveled to a skeleton, bound to a Buddha pillar like a withered husk, yet her belly remained grotesquely swollen, the skin stretched so tight it was almost transparent, as if something inside was about to burst free. She exhausted all her demonic power to cast that transformation spell. Master Kongming said, rousing Nan Tianju from her stupor, if we'd waited until the 49th day, when her soul would have scattered completely and the spell fully solidified. Even driving this soul-locking dagger into her heart wouldn't have been enough to kill her instantly. People said Buddhist masters were all compassion and mercy, but Master Kongming was a man of fierce justice, bold and forthright, with the bearing of a chivalrous hero. Only then did I realize the female warrior in Chi Min's legend had been Master Kongming's junior sister. Ha 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 ha. At his words, Nan Tianju burst into wild, maniacal laughter. Then she fixed Master Kongming with a venomous stare. I remember now, there was such a woman. That foolish girl spent her whole life running around trying to save people from monsters, and in the end, she couldn't even save herself. Isn't that hilarious? If she'd sworn to eliminate all demons, why did she spare my life? She prattled on about making me a better being, treating me like a friend, but she refused to let me borrow a human form. I had to take it by force. What kind of friend is that? Nothing but a hypocrite. Nan Tianju's eyes narrowed as she looked at Master Kongming, a cruel smile spreading across her face. Old monk, could it be that you were the one that foolish woman was so fond of, her beloved senior brother? Perfect, here and now, I'll send both pairs of star-crossed lovers to the underworld together. With a shriek, she channeled the last of her demonic power. A blinding green light erupted from her body, wrapping her in a swirling vortex of energy. As the light intensified, several of the vines binding her to the pillar snapped with a loud crack. Pathetic tricks. You think you can trap me? What a delusion. The green light reached its peak in an instant, demonic energy surging wildly, shrouding heaven and earth in a thick, murky fog. Chaos reigned everywhere. But I could see clearly Nan Tianju was breaking free. If she escaped, Chi Minute would be in mortal danger. I strained against the confines of the bead, desperate to break free, ready to sacrifice my very soul to protect him. But before I could make a move, a beam of golden Buddha light shot forth, blazing with immense power, and struck the source of the green light. Boom! In an instant, the murky fog shattered, the darkness vanished without a trace, and the world returned to clarity. Nan Tianju crumpled.
Chi, this young lady's mortal destiny is not yet fulfilled. This old monk may just be able to help you both. I was completely confused by his words, but Chi Min's eyes suddenly lit up with a brilliant, desperate hope. Epilogue 1. The 18th year of Anping, spring. I've turned 100 days old. Mother says today is my 100-day banquet. What's a 100-day banquet? I don't get it, I just want to sleep. ZZZ. I was having the sweetest dream when Mother woke me up. She wiped the drool from my chin and smiled so beautifully. Fine, fine. For Mother's pretty smile, I'll forgive her. Tilda. Mother dressed me in a frilly little outfit and put a cute tiger head hat on my head, then carried me out to meet everyone. When father was showing me off to the guests, I dazedly blew a snot bubble and everyone burst into laughter. Wow, grown-ups have such weird sense of humor, no use trying to sleep now. So I just stared wide-eyed as I got passed around from one adult's arms to another. Father took me from mother, patted my chubby little cheek, then handed me over to brother when he started grumbling impatiently. Brother cuddled and teased me for a while, until someone suddenly snatched me out of his arms. That set brother yelling at the top of his lungs. "Hey, Chi-minute, that's not fair." Brother chased after the man holding me, shouting, "Don't run, I haven't held her enough yet. Wait a minute, she's my real little sister. Stop right there and give her back." His antics had all the banquet guests roaring with laughter. As for me, I was staring up at the man who'd stolen me away, my big eyes wide open. He was looking down at me too, his eyes crinkling with a smile. Wow, he's so handsome when he smiles. He must look just as handsome when he doesn't. I declare, from this day forward, he's my handsome brother. He pressed a kiss to my forehead and whispered something I couldn't understand. "Shinga, this time, grow up safe and sound." I didn't know what he was saying, but I giggled like a fool anyway. Deep down in my heart, seeing him just made me happy. Alright, you've held her long enough. Come on, the banquet's starting. When brother dragged handsome brother back to the feast, father was racking his brains trying to pick a name for me. "Let's call her Wangxing," I heard handsome brother say. His eyes were bright, like they held a million twinkling stars. Nan Wangxing, not the forget in forgotten, but the hope in hopeful, too. The 22nd year of Amping. I'm 4 years old now. Brother once said that when we grow up, we'll have lots of worries. I guess I must have grown up already, even though I'm only 4. That doesn't stop me from having tons of troubles, like the green vegetables mother keeps putting in my bowl, like the scratchy stubble that tickles my face whenever father snuggles me. And also, when will brother give up on carving me rabbit figurines? His yard is totally bare now. He's chopped down almost all the trees. Last month, he made a bet with handsome brother. Whoever carves me the best wooden rabbit in a month wins. Sigh, grown-ups are always so weirdly competitive. Just as I was thinking that, a gigantic wooden rabbit suddenly popped up by the window, waving its paws at me. I gasped and ran over, but there was no one behind the windowsill. I hugged the big rabbit tight and looked around, then suddenly, a pair of strong arms lifted me up and held me close. Wow, handsome brother. Compared to my new friend the big rabbit, handsome brother's arrival made me even happier. "Do you like the big rabbit I gave you, Shinga?" He smiled. His voice warm and smooth like jade. I love it, I love it, I love everything handsome brother gives me." He laughed even harder, then promised me all sorts of tricky little toys. A big tabby cat, a big squirrel, a big puppy. So many things. Hey, maybe grown-ups' competitiveness isn't such a bad thing after all. 3. The 32nd year of Amping. I'm 14 now. Ever since last year, I've been having the same dream over and over again. In the dream, someone hurt me badly, but luckily, my husband never gave up on me. He begged for help everywhere, and finally saved me from fading away completely. It wasn't until yesterday that I was sure everything I dreamed about was real. My memories came flooding back one by one. Everything from my past life felt like it had just happened yesterday. At the end of my past life, Master Kongming enlightened me and helped me be reborn. Mother couldn't bear to be apart from me, even though she was already advanced in years. She risked her life to give birth to me again. It was a close call, but luckily, she recovered fully afterward. This life, I'm still showered with love, but my personality is nothing like it was before. Father and mother no longer keep me cooped up in the backyard. I spend all day following brother around, running all over the capital city, and Chi-minute never married anyone else. Because of that, countless unmarried young ladies in the capital cried their hearts out. He volunteered to be my martial arts master. He either takes me hunting outside the city or brings me to the military camp to watch him spar with others. He's always been close to me, but he's never crossed the line. He keeps a gentle distance, always respectful. He taught me to live freely, to follow my heart, to be brave and fearless, but he never once mentioned anything about our past life. I didn't know how to feel about that. But I knew one thing for sure, I couldn't hold him back anymore. He deserved to have a family of his own, to marry, to have children. He shouldn't have to wait for me for 2 lifetimes. I made up my mind to leave the capital and go traveling. To my surprise, father, mother, and brother all accepted my decision calmly. After all, this life. I'm no longer that fragile young lady from a noble family. They had no reason to worry. On the day I left, I didn't say goodbye to Chi-Minute. Just as I was leading my horse out of the capital, a familiar voice called out behind me. Shinga, it was Chi-Minute. He jumped off his horse, and he didn't seem angry at all that I'd left without a word. Where are you going? I'll see you off. The entire way, he kept telling me to take care of myself, repeating his advice over and over again, never getting tired of it until we reached the pavilion outside the 10-mile-long road. Suddenly, he went quiet. For a moment, we just stood there, staring at each other, saying nothing. After a while, he finally spoke. Go. Take care on your journey. I nodded. I watched him turn to leave, then hesitated for a second and called out, Chi-Minute. His steps faltered. He turned back to look at me. I moved my lips, and 3 words slipped out. I watched as a smile slowly spread across his face, lighting up his eyes. The last trace of unease in my chest melted away completely. I tightened the reins, cracked the whip, and galloped away, riding into the warm morning sunlight. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next video.